What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, we'll break down what's going on with SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, and a couple of tickers out there. I'm going to talk about the overall market, what you should be watching for, what information is developing on SPY that's very possible, what all this data is suggesting with the earnings and everything coming out, and what's going on with all these different tickers. But before I do anything like this, before I talk about all the data and how it's affecting the markets, let me just mention a couple of things before starting. I'm personally not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the accounts, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. It ends in just 2 weeks, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so looking at SPY, this thing is currently up about 0.02% for the day. Tesla is very flat, and most stocks out there are quite flat so far after the jobs numbers just came out. The job report basically shows us that about 187,000 jobs were added to the economy in July, which is a little bit less than expected. But the unemployment rate was about 3.5%, which is very close to what the forecast was, a little bit lower actually. So very mixed data. But the non-farm payrolls were a little bit weak, and this is once again leading to some concerns for the market. The market had a very, very nuanced response, getting a balance and coming right back down, and we're still quite flat so far. Now, going into earlier today, the Nasdaq 100 futures were up a little bit as investors weighed in the big tech earnings, especially because of Amazon once again just killing it, doing very well with strong guidance. And just as a reminder, we had these earnings coming out this morning from Fubo TV to Nikola and a couple of others. And so far, looking at it, we could see some of the biggest moves in the pre-market would be Aapl, which is currently down about 2.4% as of right now. Basically, their overall earnings was actually a beat on EPS and revenue, but they did expect revenue to possibly decline from some of their sectors, such as like the overall sales for the iPads and their Macs as well. So it's just worth noting. We will see how this plays out for Aapl. It's looking a little weak so far, but Amazon is a strong one overall. Coinbase is down 1.5% as of right now. Amazon is up quite nicely, and then we have a couple of others like Nikola, which actually is currently down. It actually ended up dropping after some new news that came out. I also want to add on that we have a couple of things worth mentioning according to CNBC. There's a lot to digest from the stock market, from all this unemployment data. And then we also had the big earnings from yesterday, but the two big ones are going to be Aapl and Amazon. Aapl is still a little bit down. Amazon is still, holding up nicely. Also watching all the jobs numbers which just came out, and that's pretty much it actually at this point that the market's just looking at that's very important. So anyways, now let's talk about the charts. How are things looking so far? So on the 30-minute time frame, right, looking at SPY, we are currently quite flat, trying to get a balance right now, right? But if you would notice this formation, we are forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern with the bullish divergence right here. So we have like this head right over here, we have a left shoulder on SPY, and we could be forming a right shoulder. But technicals alone are not everything. Even though this does look a little bit more bullish, it looks like the market may try to push up and possibly see a squeeze for many of these shorts and a retest of our 200 EMA. You have to watch for confirmation first just to be safe. So right now we're fighting 450 in the pre-market. We're not actually breaking it just yet. If you're bullish, you want to see SPY hold above 450. If that holds, this is going to start looking more bullish. We're going to see this thing try to push for at least 452 or higher. 452.8 or higher becomes a possibility. If the opposite happens and we fail to hold 450 into today, you're going to be watching 448 as our critical support. If that breaks, the market's going to come tumbling down and we're going to see SPY tank alongside many stocks out there. Now, so far with all the numbers coming out, the market is still trying to hold up, so it's unlikely the market's going to break. And it looks a little bit more likely like this inverse head and shoulders pattern is going to play out, and we're going to see this right shoulder develop with buyers stepping in as a result of that. It looks more bullish than bearish, but just to be safe, watch for confirmation and watch your levels very carefully. For Tesla's also trying to hold up. If you're bullish, so right now it's actually trying to hold 260. If you're bullish, you want to see it hold 260. If this holds, we could see Tesla make an attempt to break out and make its way closer to about, I think we have this imbalance right about here, very close to this level about around like 266. That becomes a real possibility for Tesla. 266 is possible, 265 to 266 if we hold above 260 today. If we manage to hold above and we just keep on pumping, that could be a good sign. Tesla also tends to pump in the mornings before it ends up slowing down intraday and then gets possibly one more pump at the end of the day. So like for example, on Monday that happened, Tuesday it happened, Wednesday same thing. Thursday we always got these pumps in the morning before it just continued. This is looking a little bit more bullish to me, but we have to hold 260 as our confirmation. If it breaks down below 258, however, you're going to be watching for a retest of 255, if not lower levels. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. It does look more bullish than bearish as of right now. I want to note that it looks more bullish as long as we hold above our 50 EMA quite nicely, very strongly above 260 especially. That's going to be a good sign for Tesla. Watch for a pop in the morning, and I just want to note it looks more bullish so far, but always be open-minded with Tesla because you never know with the news. The news is crazy for the stock, and things happen all the time. Now, for Apple, it's trying to hold 185. If this thing could hold 185 and just try to hold around this range, maybe try to push up a tiny bit, this could help the market hold up. Because so far, even as Apple's kind of down, the market's trying to hold up. If Apple ends up sinking below 185, we're going to be watching 182.5 next, and even 180 becomes a possibility. I just hope that Apple tries to hold 185 or even 182.5, because if it fails to do so, this could lead to some downwards pressure for the markets. But if it holds 185 and just tries to base around here and trade sideways around here, this could help the market still continue to hold up because the market is still green in the pre-market. The market's still trying to pump, and so far things are looking quite decent. For the triple Q, if you're a bull in the market, you want to see the triple Q hold 375. If that holds, we're going to be watching this thing retest 376.85. And if that breaks, there's 378, which becomes a real possibility. And above that, we have 380. If we fail to hold 375, we start breaking down. You're going to be watching support in this 374 area. If that breaks, our next major support is going to be 373.25. If that fails us, 371 becomes a possibility, followed by 370. What do I think is more likely? We're basically just barely testing 375 right now. I think the odds favor is trying to hold on to it, so be very mindful of that. For Nvda, we're basically forming a bullish structure right now in the pre-market. This looks more bullish than bearish as of right now, but just to be safe, we want to see it hold above these critical resistance levels. So if it holds 450 today, we're currently at around 448. I want to see it hold above 450 though. If we manage to hold above that, then I could see 454 and possibly this imbalance fill all the way up to about 458. But we have to hold above 450 at the very least, and we have to try to break the 200 EMA at 454 to get all the way up there. There's also this unfilled gap all the way up around 460, which is a possibility if we do manage to break above the imbalance. So those are some levels to watch for in the video, but we have to hold 450 first. If it rejects off 450, this 448 to 450 zone, and ends up breaking down, you're going to be watching its support right around this 444 level. If that fails us, then there's 440 and then 436. What looks more likely? Well, on the chart right now, from a technical standpoint, it is holding up very nicely in the pre-market. It does look like it wants to push a little bit more. It looks like it wants to, turn more bullish. So that looks a little bit more likely to me on Nvidia. But just to be safe, you have to watch for your confirmation. You have to watch for those important levels to see if it manages to hold and to see how it performs in terms of its candlesticks, the price action, etc. Finally, looking at Coinbase's things a little bit down after earnings came out yesterday, still looking a little bit weak. We're going to be watching 86.8 on it. If that continues to fail us, then 85 becomes a real possibility. People are interested in Netflix. Netflix is holding up quite nicely as well so far. Very, very flat, forming a wedge. So I'm expecting a big move. If there's a break to the upside, you can be watching this thing get up to 440. If it breaks to the downside, you're going to be watching 425. It looks a little bit more likely it's going to try to break out as it's a little green in the pre-market, but watch for this wedge breakout on Amazon. Finally, for another ticker out there, such as Amazon. Amazon is up very, very nicely. It has a bullish structure. We could see 145 on if it keeps pumping. But don't forget, when stocks pump really hard, they could even slow down a little afterwards. So maybe it pumps to 145 and starts slowing down just a little bit, but it should close green today, most definitely. I don't see it tanking too hard or anything. Lots of buyers are going to continue to step in and try to push this thing even higher. So it looks quite nice. This is going to help the market hold up, at least to some degree. For Meta, with the tech holding up, the bullish case for Meta is going to be a retest of 316. If it breaks that 318, then 320 become possibilities. The bearish case is going to be a watch of 312.5. If that breaks, we're going to be watching this thing come down to about 310. What looks more likely? It looks more likely like this thing is just going to get tighter. You can see how it's getting very tight right now. And it's eventually going to try to break out above 316 and push to higher levels. Finally, for the last stock, which is going to be Google. For Google, if you're bullish, you want to see this thing break above 130. If that breaks, I would not count out the possibility of about a retest of about 131.5 at the very least. If you're bearish on Google, you want to see it come all the way down to about 129. If that fails us, 128 becomes another possibility, 128.03. In my opinion, it's looking a little bit more bullish. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders just like on SPY. So there's a good chance it's going to try pushing up for the 131s. But just to be safe, okay, just to be safe, we're going to be watching to see if it can break 130. All right. Finally, for the dollar is kind of down right now. So this is a bullish signal for the markets. Just as of right now, we will see if this holds. Same thing with the SQQQ coming down. The VIX is also down. So there is a good chance the market's going to try to bounce. But just to be safe, just for confirmation, always watch your levels and always try to play it safe when it comes to like your risk management and etc. You do not want to take too many massive risks in a market like this. You want to be very careful. And that is not financial advice. All right, guys. Anyways, have a great day, everyone. Take care. Watch your levels, and I'll see you guys in the next one. The market to the moon, as the long term is still incredibly bright despite these short term fluctuations that happened. Thank you and peace out.